All right, what's up, guys? It is 12:50 a.m. Thursday, May 2nd. We got some miles in the Atreyu Racer today, or yesterday, however you want to say it. But tomorrow morning, we are going to do a head-to-head comparison between my favorite soft max cushion shoe, the New Balance 1080 V13 here, and in a new entrant into the stable here and just picking it up. Wow, this thing is clunky. It is heavy. It's a shoe that I've not been enjoying too much, really surprisingly, because I absolutely loved the previous generation of this shoe. But in this update here, they've widened it out, they've stuffed it with padding, and I can't quite figure out where it fits in my rotation and where it's going to be best for you guys. So tomorrow morning, I'm going to get some miles in this guy. Later in the day, I'm going to get some miles in the 1080 V13. We're going to do a head-to-head comparison, and I needed to film this intro tonight because if I didn't, I know I'm not going to get my booty out of bed in the morning. So with that, guys, I am going to hit the hay. I will see you bright and early tomorrow morning. I'm manifesting it. I am going to get up when that hotel alarm starts giving me ambient sounds at 6 a.m. I will see you then. All right, guys, 6:01, bright and early. Check this out. This is the funky alarm. All right, guys, so it was 6:14 a.m., all ready to go here. I got the running shorts on, running socks, and this morning I'm going to get some more miles in the Saucony Triumph 22. So the reason that I didn't love this shoe compared to the 1080 so far is that I can't figure out exactly what it's best for. It has so much cushion in the back, and then it has this PWRRUN PB race foam with a little bit of bounce to it, but it's a lot firmer than I anticipated. And the reason that I love the 1080 is it's super soft and comfortable, and every time I put this thing on, I just want to run more miles because it feels so good. And just holding this in my hands, it is so much lighter than the Triumph and so much more nimble. It just feels like a better shoe to slip on. So we're going to go get some miles in, run for about an hour on the treadmill, and then I'm going to come back, do an overview of both of these guys and dive into all the details. So not going to bring the camera down there because, well, we're on a business trip and I don't want to put myself on blast like I told you before, but I'll see you in a few. Alright, guys, Triumph on foot. Wish me luck. I have no headphones, so there'll be no music. Well, I do have headphones. My phone is dead, so there'll be no music. 8 miles on the treadmill, no music, no mirrors, or no windows, just mirrors looking at myself for an hour. Let's do it, baby. Alright, guys. We got 6 miles. Recalibrate, yes. Okay, boom. Average 8:30 pace, 51 minutes. And man, this was a case of the expression that kept coming to my head. Sometimes you gotta lose the battle to win the war. Man, we were losing the battle this morning. Underfueled from yesterday, man, they're not feeding me here. I had to order Chipotle at 10:30 p.m. because I didn't want to make a big deal at the restaurant, but there was a bunch of cheese in my thing, so I couldn't eat it. So I had to eat a Chipotle at 10:30 p.m. Got the 5 hours of sleep, but man, we just got to keep it going here. But the shoe is not doing me any favors this morning. And you guys know I try to be honest but kind about these shoes, right? And I'll find the one thing that they're best at versus their competitors. And there's usually a few good things about all these shoes. And this does have some good qualities to it, like this padded upper, and it's not going to roll your ankle. But man, this is a case where I'm having trouble being both honest and kind about the shoe. There are not too many so far, but I mean, we did a 22-mile double day, a first run, and so 6 plus 8, 14 plus 20, 36 miles on this guy, which is usually by the 30-mile mark. I have a good idea of how a shoe is going to perform to 100. I have a good idea of how I'd want to use the shoe, and for this guy, man, yeah, I'm having a hard time finding much that I like about it. And if we compare it to the 1080, let me go grab that guy. So yeah, take a look at this, guys, okay? New Balance 1080 V13, and then we have the Saucony Triumph here. And these shoes are in the same category. So they're both cushioned daily trainers. It used to be called the premium daily trainer category. You have these shoes, you have the Vomero, you have the Gel Nimbus, and over the past few years, a lot of these shoes have gone towards higher stack heights, better foams, and that's subjective, but softer foams, bouncier foams, lighter foams that also are really durable and will keep you feeling comfortable over 250, 300, 350, 400 miles. So these two shoes go head to head, 165 for the 1080 V13 and then 160 for the new Saucony Triumph over here. And the main change that they did with this shoe versus the previous shoes is actually putting in the upgraded foam here. And that's a similar thing to what New Balance did from the 13 or from the 12 to the 13, except in the case of the New Balance, they made the shoe a lot softer and they made it a lot more comfortable. Saucony, and it's not really a case of soft or firm, but they made the foam here, it feels like a stiffer, less fun, and heavier shoe overall than the 20 and the 22. So key differences between these guys here. This guy is a nice soft ride. You do have a decently wide base similar to the Saucony Triumph here, but it is going to be a lot softer underfoot. The Triumph, and I know I'm saying I don't love it too much, but I think if you do want a firmer ride between these two, this might be the one to go to. Now, the upper situation is not great on the Triumph 22 either. And initially I liked that they put a lot of padding on here, but it's too much and it feels bulky. It feels heavy. And if you look around to the back here, you can see they put this sort of a leather piece, some sort of leather overlay on the back, which is completely unnecessary. That's just going to add a ton of extra weight to the shoe and really serves no functional purpose. You could do the same thing like New Balance has here with the 1080. They just have the plastic heel clip. So if what they're looking to do is to add some more stability and structure, you just add the plastic, or I'm not sure exactly what pieces, but a lot of shoes have this piece back there. You don't need to add the overlays. You keep it light. And this is a great example here, what New Balance did, of how to add some comfort, cushioning, and padding into the upper of a shoe while keeping it lightweight. So the difference in weight between these two guys is outrageous. In my size, and this is actually a size 11 in the 1080 V13 that I have here, so half a size bigger than I normally get, this is 280 grams, and the Triumph 22 comes in at 330 grams. A huge difference, and that's due to the materials that they used in the upper. Saucony making it a lot bulkier, probably a little bit of that weight coming from the rubber, which we'll talk about in a second, a little bit of that weight coming from the width of these shoes. You get maybe a touch more width in the Triumph, but really I think it's about the density of the foam here, which is not what you'd expect, because in the Triumph here, you have the PWRRUN PB, which is Saucony's racing foam, but to make it non-plated, because in the Endorphin Pro series and the Endorphin Speed series, they have the carbon fiber and plastic plates respectively. To take those plates out, which provide a lot of stability, they needed to stiffen up this foam. So look at this. If I try to bend towards the midfoot, it is very stiff. We got a little bit of give up here, but this is a stiff and firm ride. There's not a lot of give to it, and most of my miles that I've done in this shoe so far have been between 7:30 and 8 minutes, so to the slower end of my everyday miles, getting into that recovery zone. And today we were 8:30, which is definitely a recovery zone, and that's where a shoe like this with this much cushioning and comfort should shine. This is clearly not designed to be a speed training shoe with all the weight, all the bulk, and all the padding here, and it's not been giving me much. And I'm not the lightest on my feet. It's not like I can't compress the midsole enough, and maybe it's because I've been running at slower paces, but I've tried some pace pickup here and there, and it's felt okay, but not the liveliest either. And when we think about the firmer foams, the trade-off tends to be you get a little bit more bounce to it when you push the pace. Like the Saucony Endorphin Elite is a great example. It felt extremely firm and uncomfortable to me, slower than 630 per mile. And then as I picked up the pace down to 6 flat and even faster into some 550s, it felt great. With this shoe, I would expect getting down into that 7 flat range, maybe it would come alive, but maybe I'm just not the right type of runner for this shoe, because if I'm going to be pushing down to 7 flat, which is on the faster end of my everyday miles, I would prefer to just have a lighter or just a more fun shoe on. Something like the Skyward X is an example of more fun. Something like Boston 12 or a plated trainer. If I'm going to run steady miles, maybe I'd go for those, or even something like the Rebel. So this is a little bit of a confused shoe, and especially comparing to the 1080, it becomes how clear the identity crisis is with the Triumph 22 here, because the 1080 knows exactly what it wants to be. This is a comfort cruiser. As soon as you step foot into this, it just caresses your foot. Everything about the materials is soft, and that's not just the padding, but hold on, I need to get some water. That's another thing I should have added to my list of whininess this morning. I'm dehydrated. But as I was saying, the 1080 V13 here, it knows exactly what it's going for, and it executes on that really well. Upper is soft and comfortable. The materials are soft to the touch. The foam is soft when you step into it, and you can see back here, look at all these little creases, because the foam, and I'll get this on foot in a second here, but the foam compresses super nicely and surprisingly has had decent durability through 300 miles. I mean, look at this. We do have some wear on the outsole here, but I cannot complain with this guy. And so most of those 300 miles, the way that I use this shoe was recovery pace, definitely slower than 730 per mile. I'm not sure if I ever ran faster than a 730 mile in this thing. I've did some walking, not too much, but overall, just a really comfortable shoe for recovery efforts, for time on feet, up to 90 minutes is where I love this guy. And as soon as I put it on my foot in that Fleet Feet where I bought it, I knew this would be a winner. And the thing is, guys, you also get more stack height in this shoe than in the Triumph. You get 30 millimeters, 38 millimeters in the heel back here, and 32 millimeters in the forefoot. And that's really the key thing, is the forefoot foam, because the Triumph 22 uses this 10 millimeter drop. And man, just looking at this thing is making me annoyed now. I do not want to run in this anymore. But because there's a 10 millimeter drop right here, it really gives you a lot more feel in the forefoot than you'd expect. And this morning, it felt like the top of my left foot was just slamming into the treadmill, because something about this foam, and it's surprising because it's firm, just really does not give a lot of support and comfort. So if you take a look visually, it doesn't seem all that different, but it might be the way the fresh foam is tuned versus the PWRRUN PB. But the forefoot in the 1080 here feels a lot more cushioned while still being a decently nimble shoe. Now, it's not a flexible shoe, but because the foam is softer, I do feel like I still have good control of the platform. And because it's not a super wide shoe, you don't get that ultimate boaty, floaty feeling like you might get in a Gel Nimbus or even a Hoka Skyward X, or even something like the SC Elite V4, which is just a super wide shoe. So this shoe still manages to be streamlined while offering a ton of soft cushion, which is the opposite of this guy. This is heavy, and I don't know what the opposite of streamlined is. I'm sure there's a mechanical engineer out there who can let me know. Stochastic flows, bro. Yeah, this thing is blocky. It is chunky, and it does not feel light on foot whatsoever. Now, it's clear what my preference is between these shoes, especially for recovery-paced miles. The 1080 V13 is going to be a much better option if you like that soft feel. I do think we still might be able to find some redeeming qualities of this guy here, especially for maybe some bigger runners or big-footed runners who want this gigantic platform here. And look at it's very wide, and I think if you do like this wider toe box up here, that is one of the redeeming qualities. And the other thing too is durability. There is a ton of rubber on this shoe, and that is not an area where the 1080 really excels. However, if just looking at it, it looks like a lightweight shoe. It looks like it's not going to make it very far, but like I said, we have 300 miles on this guy. So that is one of the last things that I want to test with the 1080 here. How is it going to do past the 300 mile mark? Because I'm confident that the Triumph 22 here, even though I'm not loving it right now, I'm confident that it's going to do pretty well once we get it up to 300 miles, 350 miles. Probably not me personally, but someone else out there could probably take this shoe to 400 miles, which is something that the previous generation of the Triumph had as well. So with that, guys, I'm going to hit the showers, and then we can lace up these 1080s, and I'm going to rock them casually, do a little bit of a fit and feel test out there, and then I'll come back later to report back how it went. All right, see you in a bit. All right, guys, showered, ready to go. We got the full workday fit on. Let me show you. Look at this. Bang. Got the Lululemon pants. Octobre shirt. Put some respect on that Octobre shirt. This is a birthday present from Charles. Fire. Thank you, Charlie. All right. Now time to lace up the 1080 V13 here. Now I'm weird about which running shoes that I wear casually, but these have 300 miles on them, and I've worn them, I wouldn't say casually. I don't think I've actually ever worn them casually, but I've done things like going to the park in them and running after. So I've had it on for walking around and stuff. But this morning, we are going to pull up in the 1080 V13. Legit. I'm legit going to be rocking these around town to test how they are. And one of the issues one of the things I've been looking for recently is upper breathability, because down here in the south, man, in the summer it gets super hot. And I've actually had a few people ask me how these shoes are, not these ones on my feet, but in general, best shoes for walking breathability. And Brooks Ghost Max is actually a pretty solid one. The On Cloud Eclipse, which I've been wearing, that's pretty breathable. I had that on my feet yesterday for 80 degrees, and it was solid. The Triumph 22, man, I tried to travel in that guy to the gas station, and I drove 2 hours to the gas station in South Carolina, a waypoint here from Charlotte to Savannah, and I had to switch into the Cloud Eclipse because the Triumph was so hot. So we'll see how these things do. It is now 7:48, 7:49. Another complaint to add to my list. I need one video where I can just complain a lot. So another complaint to add is I haven't had coffee yet. So I had to do that treadmill run with no coffee. So we're going to grab some coffee and then do a little walking tour of Savannah. And then I'll be back here to report how these do in the heat with the time on feet. And then we can get in a little final breakdown. Maybe some more miles later. I don't know. Stay tuned. Hold on. Gotta do a quick drip check. Alright guys, time to hit the road. I will see you in a bit. Guys, I finally found good coffee. Let's go. All right, guys, 12:22, back here after an enlightening morning in Savannah, Georgia. And man, these 1080s are just so comfortable, and this is a walking test, not a running test. But compared to the Triumphs, which we were wearing this morning, this is just so much easier to have on foot. It feels like a much more natural shoe. The lower drop is way simpler to navigate. I don't feel like I'm getting pushed up on my toes. And the way that they have the foam and the heel back here, let me just grab the Triumph. It just feels a lot easier to stand on than this Triumph here. And I'll slip this guy on real quick. But yeah, the way that the midsole foam is set up in the Triumph here, it's stiff, it's firm. I feel like I'm wearing a platform, and yeah, it really feels like there's just a lot of material and bulk around my ankle. They way overdid it with this upper here in the back. And then if you just look at these things on foot, which one of these would you prefer to have just from the design? This left one here, the 1080, is just so much more comfortable and overall just a better shoe. So I'm not sure if much more needs to be said because my preference is clearly the 1080 here, but I do want to do a little bit of a breakdown on who the Triumph might be better for versus the 1080. All right, guys, so change of plans. It is 12:47, and a colleague invited me to go run with him. So I'm going to get some more miles in the Triumph here, and hopefully we'll start seeing some more glimmers of hope out of this guy. Because we've had the fresh foam, or the 1080 with the fresh foam, an amazing foam on foot all morning. I want to see if maybe we get something different out of this PWRRUN PB here, gallivanting around Savannah on nice relaxed jog with the homie Kyle. So I'm going to strap these things up, and then I'll see you guys in a bit. No camera. I'm not going to subject Kyle to that. One of the issues I've had with this shoe, it's not just that it's a little bit heavy and clunky. The upper is extremely hot. And I had this on foot for probably 2 hours driving in here the other day, and even just in the car, we had the top open, but my foot was like a microwave in there. So I'm not optimistic about this running experience I'm about to have here, but we shall see. You know, people change, shoes can change too. But I don't think the breathability of it will change. But I do think we might enjoy the PWRRUN PB. Maybe it'll be a little bit softer and bouncier in the heat. But I gotta say, man, just putting these on after having the 1080 on, it really exposes all the weak points of this shoe. The 1080 just has everything that you need and nothing that you don't. Whereas the Triumph here, it has a lot of stuff you don't need, like the extra padding, and doesn't have some stuff that I would like a little more cushion up here in the forefoot and a breathable upper. So we'll see, guys. I'm a little bit down on the shoe right now. I haven't been this disappointed, I don't think, in a shoe since, I don't know, maybe the Speed 4. That was pretty disappointing. This is definitely so far my biggest letdown, unfortunately, of 2024. But I'll see you guys in a bit. All right, guys, got the phone back. Bang, 14 miles, 7:37 pace. I don't really have anything good to say about these. I'm gonna go grab a Gatorade from this overpriced market here and then meet you guys back up in the room. All right, guys, back in the hotel room now. 14 miles in the Triumph. That's 20 miles on the day, plus probably 3 miles walking in the 1080 V13. And man, as the kids say, the Triumph 22 is not it, fam. And I know Saucony is big on trying to get into the culture, trying to be a relevant lifestyle brand. It's not it, fam. Not it. I've really tried to like these shoes, and this has got to be the biggest disappointment of 2024 so far. Because Speed 4, I was disappointed, but not surprised. This is even more disappointing because Saucony, they used to be my favorite running brand by far. 2022, beginning of 2023, I absolutely loved everything that was coming out of Saucony. The Shift, the Speed 3, the Pro 3, the Triumph 20, and then over the past year, they've just neutered the line. The performance segment, man. And it's funny because the Pro 4, I guess the Pro 4 is their redemption. It's their saving grace. But they also made that shoe a little bit worse. Not worse, but they changed the value proposition of that shoe. It's an awesome shoe, but with the Endorphin Elite coming, they made the Pro 4 a little bit less of the awesome shoe that it once was. So 2023, New Balance actually became my favorite running brand, and they don't miss right now, other than the 880, I guess. So they did miss a little bit. But between these shoes and after running 14 miles in the heat in the Triumph here, I can tell you it's not any softer, it's not any bouncier than it was this morning on the treadmill. Between these two shoes, I would take the 1080 for anything over the Triumph here. It's lighter, it's softer, it's more comfortable, and I know not everyone likes soft, but this shoe, it's not giving me much. Usually with these firmer shoes, I get some sort of a benefit from it, either more structure, more support, more stability, and it's stable, but it's stable because it's a huge platform. It just feels unwieldy.
I don't get much protection in the forefoot. I feel like I'm just beating a dead horse at this point, but this is a do not buy rating. I'm issuing a do not buy. I might have to do a video about all the shoes you should buy instead of the Triumph 22 because I'm just that disappointed in it. And it's not a horrible shoe. It's just that it's not better than anything else at the $160 price point, and it's not clear what it's trying to do. If you want a firmer shoe that's comfortable for walking, get the Ghost Max. If you want a soft max cushion shoe, get the 1080. If you want this same ride experience but lighter and less hot, get the Craft Pacer. There's just a shoe that does what this does better in every single price bracket, and from basically every brand has a shoe that's better than this. So I'm sure there's going to be some people that like this shoe, and I'm also disappointed because the 20 was a great shoe, but even if this just came out and they called it the Echelon 5 or something, it's a different shoe, even without the legacy of the Triumph, it wouldn't be a hit for me. And the fact that it is the follow-on to the Triumph 20, which is one of the best recent running shoes overall, versatile and everything, makes it even more of a disappointment. So that's pretty much all I have to say about the Triumph 22 today. And I think we're now at 48 miles because we're at exactly 50 miles because I did 8 on the first day. I did a 22-mile double on the second day. And now today we did 20 miles. So that's 50 miles. That is enough to have a solid opinion of this shoe. And to be honest, I'm not sure if this is even going to make it up to the 100-mile mark anytime soon because these miles are a commodity for me. They're precious. I got to spend them wisely, and I already have a pretty good idea of how this shoe rides, and I don't think putting more miles on it is really going to give anyone value. It's just going to be a lot of negativity spouting out of my mouth. So massive disappointment, Saucony Triumph 22. New Balance 1080 V13, on the other hand, at 300 miles, this thing still feels awesome. It feels just as good when I took it out of the box. And look at this. If you take care of your shoes, they will love you right back. This is a comfortable shoe. I was wearing it all morning, 4 hours. We had to go to not my favorite thing. We went to a tour, but, there's two choices in life. You can either get mad or get motivated. So wasn't in the best mood after that tour, but I decided to get motivated and ripped off 14 miles. My guy Kyle only did 4, and then he had to go. He made lunch plans. He double booked himself. He made lunch plans with Christina. So I did 10 more miles by myself, just looping around the park there. No camera. And that's what you have to do sometimes. You just got to put the miles in. They're not going to run themselves, and nobody else is gonna hand it to you. So you got to put the work in. So that's what we did this afternoon. But before that, man, this has got to go up there top 3. I think Ghost Max, Cloud Eclipse, and this are now my top 3 casual shoes that I have in the rotation at the moment. Tracksmith Elliott Runner is also great, but that's not in the rotation right now. I did the best walking shoes video a few weeks ago, so check that out if you're interested in my other favorites. But this one is now, I might upgrade it into the walking rotation, and I might have to get a long run in this and maybe try to get it up to 400 miles, do some double days, throw it back in my primary rotation. I really want to make sure I'm highlighting all the good shoes out there, and I haven't highlighted this one for a while just because we have newer stuff coming in, but that's why I like to revisit these shoes, because as you could see today, just because something is the newest to hit the market here doesn't mean it's the best. And we're no longer, this is losing its name of Triumph. We're now just going to call this guy the Oomph. This is the Saucony Oomph. So there you have it, guys. New Balance 1080 V13, and I actually have been doing winners of these head-to-head videos recently because some of these shoes have been letting me down a little bit. This is the clear winner today. There is nothing that the Saucony Triumph does better than the New Balance here, unless maybe you want a shoe to keep your feet warm. If you're in Alaska and you think you're going to have some trouble keeping your feet warm, get some merino wool socks, get the Triumph 22, and if you're walking on the snow, the fact that it's a brick probably won't be any issue. So if you are an Alaskan runner, get that shoe, grab a headlamp, you'll be good for the whole winter. Now, if you do not want a super soft shoe, some alternatives to the New Balance 1080 V13 are, again, Ghost Max. That's going to be an awesome one for walking. For running, my favorite firmer shoe is the Asics Nova Blast 4, favorite firmer cushion shoe. That's a really nice option. It has a little bit higher stack than this, but similar effect in that it keeps your legs feeling really protected, and it's good for runs over an hour. And then if you don't want something that is as tall, as stacked as this, if you were thinking and hoping that the Triumph 22 over there, which we were talking about, was going to be a little bit of that bouncier, more fun ride, it is not. I don't know why I whispered that. It is not. It is not. But if you do want that little bit faster, lower to the ground, bouncier option, and you're hoping that, I would tell you to get the Triumph because of that. The ones that you're going to want to get are either the Hoka Mach 6 or the New Balance Rebel V4. So Mach 6 is a little bit more cushioned like this, but lighter weight, not as dense foam here. It compresses a little bit more. You get a little bit more ground feel up in the forefoot. You also get a little bit more roll than this, but it still feels decently cushioned. And then Rebel V4, also by New Balance, is lower stack than either the Mach 6 or the 1080 V13. Super lightweight, lots of ground feel, pretty flexible shoe. It's not the craziest bouncy foam in the world. The Mach 6 has a little bit of a better bounce to it, but really fun, light shoe. Also really comfortable for walking. So those would be my two alternatives. You want something a little bit faster, more fun, bouncier, and we're hoping to get the Triumph. Please do not get the Triumph. It's on my Flocka Brick Squad now with the 880 V14. Those are the two shoes that have made it onto that list, just chilling with Waka in the VIP section. Brick Squad, I got a whole lot of money. So yeah, guys, there you have it. There's the head-to-head between the 1080 V13 and the Saucony Triumph 22. This is one of the best max cushion shoes. Highly recommend it. It's worth $165. Please don't get the Saucony Triumph 22. I'll be back tomorrow with another video.